Hello, everybody. My name's Kelvin, and today's presentation is in regards to technical interview tips. Now, before I begin this presentation, I just want to give you an overview of who I am and what I'm currently doing for those that don't know. So, currently, I'm on my final year of my honours degree in computer networks and system support. Within that, I cover everything pretty much network related, computer related, servers, working with networking, Cisco, and so forth. Throughout my years on the course, I've managed to attain my CCENT certification, Cisco Certified Entry Networking Technician, for those that don't know. And I'm looking at completing my CCNA certification in a few months when I finish my degree. The back end of last year, I was approached by a consultancy company who work on behalf of companies that are looking for network engineers, etc. And I was put forward a position for Cisco Meraki, entry level position, which is what I'm looking at for when I graduate. So I was quite surprised and shocked in a way that I could start to apply for these positions now. Um, so I decided to go ahead with the interview process, and I did quite well. So we're just going to go through this presentation now, and I'm going to share some tips with you, which I did and followed to actually get through the different stages of the process for Cisco Meraki. I've done a quick disclaimer just to say I'm not associated with Cisco Meraki and I'm not employed by Cisco or Meraki. This presentation is based on my experiences encountered while going through the interview process for Cisco Meraki and is for educational purposes only. Now, by that, I mean this is my intended audience is for those that are maybe still at university and not worked before or actually sat a technical interview, but would like some tips on what to kind of prepare for when you actually start going for these sort of jobs. So, while I was going through the process, the first stage was to conduct a telephone interview. Now, I spoke with a gentleman from over in the States where Meraki's headquarters are. Really good call. And I managed to pass this stage, and these are the tips that I'd like to share. So, as you can see, the first one says make sure you understand the company. So by that, what I mean is, before you actually sit this telephone interview, make sure that you've done some research on the company that you are applying to. This doesn't mean Cisco, Meraki, or any other technical company. I just mean in general. Make sure you research the company because you might be asked questions as to why you want to work for that particular company and what's drawing you to them. So yeah, make sure you do some good research around the company and how they were formed and where they're currently at, etc. The second one is make sure you are as technical as your CV dash resume. Now, what this is saying is whatever you got on your CV or whatever you've sent this company on your CV, they're going to expect you know or are educated to the level that you say you are. So for instance, if you're putting on there that you have experience with certain technologies or you are certified by a particular vendor, you will be asked questions related to your skill level. So there's no point in, lying on your CV or putting something on your CV that you don't have because more than likely you will be questioned about it and probably found out. So make sure everything on your CV you are up to date with. Um, even if you have, a copy of your CV in front of you while you're actually conducting the telephone interview, just so that if the interviewer actually refers to anything on your CV, you also have your CV in front of you to kind of just quickly look back on and have a look and just kind of, get any questions answered as quickly as possible. The next one is soft skills are important. Now, they are very important. Even though it's a telephone interview, um, you know, it's recommended that you are polite, you use your manners, um, and by soft skills, I'm talking about um, just letting if somebody's if you engage in a conversation, wait until they're finished before you start to speak. Um, you know, pleases, thank you. Make sure that you're on time for your telephone interview. Just stuff like that, really. Even though it's a telephone interview and it's not a face-to-face interview, first impressions do count. So it is important that you've kind of got those soft skills down to a T, and just be as professional as you can, really. Even though you're probably going to be nervous, as I was as well. But soft skills are important, as I say. So the fourth bullet point is make sure the location is suitable. Now, by this, I mean make sure it's not going to help if you're walking down the middle of your local high street doing a bit of shopping, and you get phoned up for your interview, because you're probably either going to get the phone put down on you, or the next response you get from this company is sorry, we don't want to take you on because it's not really professional. So make sure that you're in a quiet location where you're not going to get disturbed, and the reception, if you're going to be conducting this on your mobile phone, is suitable where you are in that location, and no interruptions are going to affect the interview. So that's very important. I have some kids, and I made sure that the location where I conducted the interview, I wasn't going to get disturbed. So just make sure that the location's suitable, and you're not going to get interrupted. And the last bullet point is towards the end of the interview, you know, do ask some questions. If you are curious and really passionate about the position that you're applying for, I'm sure that you'll have questions anyway. But do ask them questions and show how enthusiastic you are about the position that you are applying for, and also ask questions, to the person that's actually interviewing you, and ask how long they've probably worked for the company, and just kind of get to know them on a bit of a personal level as well. It kind of shows that you're enthusiastic about what you're applying for. So these tips, things that I kind of, took in mind and, kind of add down to a T, so that I could actually pass this telephone interview. And I actually did pass the interview. So I managed to reach stage two, which is what we're going on to now. So stage two for Cisco Meraki was actually the technical interview. Now this could either be conducted over Skype or in person. So in person, I had to go down to their offices in London, and well, I chose to actually go down to their offices in London because I felt that it was better for them to get to know me as a person rather than conducting a technical interview over Skype. Even though, like I said, it probably still work over Skype, but me personally, I felt that it was a good idea to go down there and see the offices for themselves, meet the people for themselves, and let them see me and who they potentially be working with, and likewise. I felt that was very important to actually go down there. So the first bullet point, dress to impress, pretty self-explanatory, really. Don't turn up to an interview in tracksuit pants and a tracksuit top and expect to get the job. Um, so do dress. for the occasion. I dressed, fully suited up and yeah, dressed to impress really. So that kind of just self-explanatory, like I say. The second bullet point is the soft skills, and as you can see, I've put soft skills are even more important. As I mentioned in the previous slide, first impressions do count, and if you are going down to the offices or going to any interview, and you are meeting the managers or the people that are interviewing you face to face, it's very important that the soft skills are down to a T because first impressions do count. So again, just being polite, organized, being on time. Don't be showing up 20 minutes after the scheduled interview. If your interview's at say 12 o'clock dinner time, make sure you do show up on time, or even 15-20 minutes before your interview is due to start. This just kind of shows willing, and shows that you are ready and organized and disciplined for what you're actually going into. So make sure them soft skills are actually down to a T. Don't be using any slang really. Just keep it professional as you can, because that's what they want to see. These soft skills, if you're applying for technical positions, customer facing positions, and you're talking to customers, they're going to be looking at how you speak to them. And this is kind of going to be passed off to the customers and the clients that this company actually deal with. So it's very important that you do keep it as professional as possible. The third one is time to prove you are as technical as you say you are. So with stage one, the telephone interview, yeah, you can have some notes in front of you. You're not going to know everything. When I actually went down to Cisco's Meraki's offices in London, you know, they even said, look, we don't expect you to know everything. We don't know everything. It's impossible to know everything, which it is, but just know as much as you actually say you do on your CV, or your covering letter or anything that you applied for, because you will be questioned on that. That's the reason you've actually been drawn into the interview in the first place. So, as I said in the last slide, don't be putting things on your CV that you don't have experience in, or skills you don't have, certifications you don't have. Don't be doing that because it will show on a technical interview. Um, so in particular, I mean, the technical interview that I had, it was about 3 hours long, and we had pretty much a whiteboard in front of me, and we just went through different scenarios, troubleshooting scenarios to do with different technologies, and everything based on what I said I knew, and everything up to and a little bit over what I'm actually certified for at the minute. But I give it a go for the things that I didn't know, and I didn't try. If I didn't know something, I'd tell them that I didn't know it. Just say that I've not worked with that as of yet, but it's something that I can look into. And just like I say, show willing and show that you know what you say, and you should be fine. So the fourth one is more research on the company. As expected, technical interview, you're not just going to jump straight into technical scenarios straight away. You're going to have a little chat, get to know each other first, and you know, having that little bit more research on the company and where they've been and how they started, and what they've come to be as as of the date, is kind of an important factor, because it shows that you've actually looked into the company, and you know all about the company that you do want to work for. So research as much as you can about the company and the technologies and the direction that they're looking at moving into. The next one is learn something new before this interview. Now, as I was just saying, with a technical interview, you are asked questions based around your skill level. So be prepared for that. However, I also mentioned that there were some questions that was asked of me that I've not particularly looked or kind of worked on as of yet, but I made them aware that I've only done limited or don't really have any skills within that particular area as of yet. But I will give the questions a go or the scenarios a go, which is what I did, and they understood that. So learning something new is kind of looking into what the company actually do, the technologies that they work with. And if you haven't worked with a particular technology that the company works with, it's not to say that you're not going to get the job, but it does help if you kind of start to look into it before your technical interview. Because again, it shows willing and it shows that you're enthusiastic about working for the company, and by showing them that you've started working on technologies, or devices, hardware that they actually work with before you even get the job. It makes you shine. Really, it separates you from the rest. So that's something I did. I kind of learned um, in regards to Cisco Meraki. I learned or tried to learn more about wireless technologies and the way that Cisco Meraki, work with their wireless technologies and the features that they have with their wireless technologies. And it helped me on the technical stage because I was able to answer some questions regarding particular scenarios that I might not have been able to do if I'd not learned this something new before the technical interview. So the next one is honesty is the best policy, which is be honest about who you are, what you know, and what you've done up until this point. Because if it's going to come out anywhere, it's going to come out in a technical interview, especially the technical side of things. Don't say you I don't know. For instance, don't say you're CCIE, or you've learned CCIE if you're on the CCNA level. You know, be honest with them and explain to them, the direction that you're looking to take, and the direction that you want to work towards. And you should be, like I say, you should be fine as long as you can show your skill level for that position that you're applying for, and the skill level that you say you actually are at that time. You should be fine. And the last one is ask questions and show how passionate you are. Now, before I actually finished the technical interview, I sat down and I spoke about the company in general, spoke about the offices in London. I spoke about how much, I like the environment, and how everyone seems so friendly and inviting. You know, just ask questions, and if you're not sure about anything, that now's the time to ask them. This is the time. Show that you're passionate, sure that you are thinking outside the box. For instance, I were asking questions like, what sort of routing protocols are you looking at, supporting in the future? Because I see that you only support limited protocols at the moment on your products. And, this kind of shows as well that you've kind of, you have looked outside the box. You've looked at, right, the company offers this, this, and this. What don't they offer, and why don't they offer it? Ask them sort of questions. It shows that you know you've thought about it, and sometimes they might not even know the answer to it, but you know it kind of shows, like I say, that you've looked into you've looked into the company a lot deeper than expected. So that brings me to the end of stage two. I did get a phone call back, and it was a very good phone call with good feedback, saying I performed very well on the technical stage, and they would like to take me on to the next stage. So I was very made up with that, especially still being in university and only recently having attained my CCNT. You know, it wasn't a job I thought, or a position I thought I'd be applying for anytime soon. So it was a really big deal to me at the time, and I was made up, and it kind of reassured myself that the technical skills that I have been learning and the skills that I say that I know, I do actually know because I've been able to prove that in a technical interview, especially with a vendor that I'm currently, holding certifications for, etc. So like I say, I was really made up with this. So the next stage was stage three, and this was a Skype interview. Now, the first bullet point is know about the company. This never stops, as you've probably seen throughout the stages. It's imperative that you keep looking at the company performance, how the company started, how they do in the current year that you're going for the interview, just stuff like that. The more you know about a company that you're applying for, the better it looks on you. And like I say, questions can be formed and questions can be raised throughout these interviews. Know about your own CV and resume. So again, it's important that you know what you've put on your CV, because at this stage, you will be asked about it again. And I think it's important to, just mention now before I go on to any other bullet points that this particular interview for Cisco Meraki was with a gentleman from the HQ in San Francisco, and it was regarding kind of the person I spoke to was a little bit higher up, and he had the final kind of say so before they actually flew me out to the HQ to go on to the next stage. So again, this was a very important interview. I'm not saying, I mean, if it's a different company that you're applying for, you know, the Skype interview might be a little bit different. The next stage might be a little bit different. But most of these tips that I have for you will kind of come in handy for any Skype interview that you have. So yeah, like I say, know about your CV because everybody who comes across your CV throughout the interview process will question you about your CV. Soft skills, being polite, being organized, being on time. As I've already mentioned, them soft skills are important. It doesn't matter what stage you're at, or whether it's face to face or over the computer. Soft skills are important. The next bullet point is being prepared. So, before your Skype interview, make sure that you're set up. You have your camera ready, as people like to see who they're speaking with, as I'm sure you'd like to know you were speaking with rather than just a voice. So, make sure you're prepared, make sure like the lighting's adequate. Um, just make sure that you're in a quiet location. The more prepared you are, the more comfortable you're going to feel, and the more professional that you're going to come across as well. So again, ask questions. You can never ask enough questions. Just keep asking questions. Any questions that you have, any questions that you didn't ask from previous stages, make sure you get them in there. Ask as many questions as you want, and obviously within reason. You should get some good answers. So it just shows again how enthusiastic you are about the position that you're applying for. The next one is engage in conversation and show how passionate you are. So when you're being asked questions on why an employer should actually take you on, show how passionate you are. Show not just about working for the company, but show how passionate you are about the technologies, the current field that you're in. So, for instance, my field, is networking. So, I were able to show how passionate I was, and I kind of come across, that I do love what I do, and which is why I'm, going for this the position that I was going for. So just show how passionate you are. Show, give examples of projects you've done, um, things you've taken part in that to do with what you enjoy doing, because it'll come across in a good way. And again, it shows that you're not only just applying for a position for the job title or the pay grade. You know, you're actually applying for a position because you actually enjoy what you do. So the last one is dress formally. So even though it's a Skype interview and you know they're only going to be seeing you over a camera, you know, I think it's quite important that you still dress professionally. You know, a shirt on, a tie on, or you know, suit on, or whatever. You know, don't be sat there in your dressing gown, or your pajamas because it's not a good look. You know, the more professional you come across, the better. You know, if you get the job and you're sat in conference calls, you know, you're not going to be sat there in your dressing gown. You know, so dress formally and you know dress for the occasion. You know, the more professional you come across, the better. So stage four, as you can see, is titled "To Be Continued." Now, I didn't manage to pass the end of stage three. Um, However, I did get some feedback as to why I didn't pass stage three, and I took that feedback on board, and it was good feedback. Um, so I'm not going to go into my personal feedback, but if at any stage in a process for a job, a technical job, you do get turned down, you know, it's always good to ask for feedback if the company can provide feedback, because then you can see where you've gone wrong and what you need to do to rectify these problems for different positions that you do come across. So always ask for feedback. I'm sure that the company will be willing to provide that for you. So the next one is thank them for their time. You know, you might be a little disheartened that you didn't receive, you know, your dream job at the time, you know, but thank them for the time. You know, you've had the opportunity to get as far as you've got, and you know, hopefully you've learned something from the process that you embarked on. Because the next bullet point, you know, it's not failing, it's preparation for something just as good or even better. So the feedback you get, you know, if you get turned down from a position, I mean, when I got turned down from Cisco Meraki, the feedback I was given was, you know, excellent feedback. You know, I was made up with the feedback. It was strange because I'd just been turned down for a job, but in a way I was happy because I didn't see it as failing. I seen it more as preparation for something just as good or even better. You know, as I said at the start, I didn't really see myself applying for such positions yet. However, they come and found me, so I went through the process. And the more I got on through the process, you know, I was really looking forward to working for Cisco Meraki. And, you know, got to the end of stage three and found out I wasn't going any further. So I was a little bit um, torn up about it, but the feedback made me grateful for the time that I had going through the stages. And, you know, what I say by preparation for something just as good or even better is that, you know, you should have learned something from the stages. You know, the feedback should have provided you some sort of um, you know the feedback kind of shows you where you know not necessarily gone wrong, but what you can do better next time. You know, so it's not failing. So don't see it as failing, and that's not what I saw me getting turned down as failing. You know, so yeah, take all the feedback on board and you know prepare for the next best thing. That's all you got to do. And if it's the company that you know you really want to work for, which you've been turned down for, you know, go away, you know, expand on on that feedback and come back fighting stronger. You know, you never know, you might get the position next time round. Thanks for taking time to watch this presentation. If you have any questions, you know, please email me at the address on screen. You can follow me on Twitter. Like I say, thanks for watching.